even 1,000 times. But that's okay. Failure isn't permanent. Falling isn't permanent. You get right back up and keep going. And this time, you're gonna be stronger, wiser, and you'll be more driven than ever. And for every 10 failures, you'll land one success. You have to love success so much that you're willing to fail 10 times before you can succeed once. That's how a winner does it. I want to explain the biggest myth that most people think leads them to success. And here's the myth. You might believe if you're scared to fail, you won't fail. Lies. Biggest myth ever. And I believed it. You see, I always thought that being scared to fail in life would literally keep me from failing.
Ready to go.
I would look at the losers around me and I would say, sheesh, I never want to turn out like him.
And ready.
I really believed this train of thought would help me succeed.
And victory will follow.
Until one day, I was walking down the street and I saw an old man. Had a hat, suspenders, and a cane. Was about 80 years old. This old man was barely walking. He could walk, but the cane helped a lot. He was struggling. So anyway, he was walking across the street and he ended up falling. So I went over to go help him. And he gets up, says thank you, and we introduced ourselves. Had a little conversation. Told me his name and I told him mine. His name was Robert, by the way. And right as he walked away, I told him, this is what I said. Robert,
let's go this way.
You should stay inside where it's safe, my friend. And Robert turns around and says to me, I love walking. And I love walking way more than I'm afraid of falling. So I asked him, what about your safety? Don't you want to live? And he told me this. These are the exact words he said. He said this. Solo, living means doing what you love to do. And if I have to fall here and there to do what I want to do in life, then so be it. And he just walked away. Never saw him again. But that statement really had me thinking. And it had me thinking hard because I learned something that day. That's when I realized the true key to success.
Eyes are open though.
You see, I always thought if I could just fear the act of failing, and if I fear it like crazy, I will succeed. Because I thought the fear would magically motivate me to get out there and start taking action. But after that day, I realized something. I realized it's the love for success that will lead me to succeeding. So just imagine if Robert feared falling. Would he even start walking? Of course not. He wouldn't even do what he loved to do. He would sit at home and take no type of action. But he loved walking. Wasn't even scared to fall. It gave him life. That's what allowed him to get up and do it. He loved walking so much, he was willing to fall 10 times a day just to do it. And you have to be the same. So the next time someone tells you, you're gonna fail, you know what you tell them? Tell them they're right. But you're not afraid to fail. You're not afraid to take action. You're not afraid to jump. You're gonna fail 10 times, but you know what? It's cool. Because on the 11th time, you'll succeed. Oh, you'll succeed all right. And it'll feel good. And while you're over here living the life of your dreams and complete happiness, guess where they're gonna be? That's right. They'll be failures. The real failures. Over there where it's safe. Scared to fail. Ironic, isn't it?
You know, a lot of people come up to me and they ask me, Marco, what is it that motivates you most? And to answer their question, I reply back with a question. I say, what if I told you that you had 1 week left to live? Would you regret not pursuing your dreams, passions, and desires? Would you regret not living your life to the fullest? Would you regret not spending as much time with your family, friends, or loved ones? You know, Steve Jobs said in his speech one time that he used to wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and ask himself questions like this. And he said that if the answer was yes for too many days in a row, then he knew that he had to change something. And that should go for all of us. If you're living a life that you would not be okay with losing because you weren't able to do things you wanted to do, then now you know that you need to change something. Life is simply too short and unpredictable to not live exactly the way that you please. It is ridiculously unpredictable. It is possible that on any given day to die at any point throughout that day without ever being able to see it coming. You know, when I was 13, I had this teacher who was an absolutely amazing person. I'd known him for several years then, and he had 2 kids, a loving wife. He was a man of God, contributed to the community. He gave us everything that he had, and he would bike to school every single day. I always remember him coming to school on his bike, and one morning on his way to school, it was early in the morning, he was crossing an intersection. A reckless driver comes out of nowhere, hits him, he dies on the spot, on the moment of impact. His death taught me so many valuable things in life, and one of them being that it went on to show that no matter how much you don't deserve to die, and no matter how good of a person you are, and no matter what your situation is, no matter anything, it goes to show that death is inevitable and random, and it will eventually consume each and every single one of us, whether it's in 50 years, in 10 years, next year, or even tomorrow. You cannot control it. The people around you cannot control it. As long as you're at the wrong place, at the wrong time, your whole life could disappear in the blink of an eye, along with everything you wished you could have done. Whether you're walking down the street, whether you're stepping into the elevator, whether you're walking down the stairs, whether you're just existing. Listen, you'll see people from nowhere die of a heart attack. Gone. No family history, no symptoms, no causes, nothing. It happens, and that's the cruel life that we live in. And it's something that we cannot control. So what I want to make clear is that regardless of the path that you take in your life, at one point, death will consume you. It doesn't care whether you floss your teeth in the morning, whether you raise a family or not, whether you go on to be rich, poor, a success, a failure, whatever. You are still going to die at one point. It is that simple. And knowing that you're going to die soon should be the biggest motivation to both make the difficult decisions in life and to get your ass out of bed in the morning. So now the question becomes, what is it that you truly have to lose? If you pursue your dreams and you fail, sure, you might be a little bit more financially unstable. You might experience stress or other feelings you wish you never had to experience. But either way, even if you fail, you will end up back to where you started, which is where you are now. So what do you literally have to lose? Some of you right now, you're thinking about maybe starting a business. You have a great idea that you want to incorporate into your lifestyle. Maybe you're thinking about pursuing your dreams to the fullest. Maybe you're thinking about putting in the work to become a doctor, an engineer, a firefighter, a professional athlete. But some of you won't follow these ambitions because you're afraid. You're afraid to fail. You let the fear of failure dictate your actions, and you're afraid of what mama or papa thinks. You're afraid of what your sister, your brother thinks, or your grandpa or your grandma, or your cousins, or whoever. But what truly matters is you. You are in possession of a gift. You have a talent, and whatever that talent is, you can make yourself and people around you a stronger and better place with it. But sometimes the only way to do that is to take a risk. At one point, you have got to take a leap if you want to make that gift that you have become a reality. Otherwise, society will gladly accept you as a 9-to-5 slave working just to pay off your rent and to stay alive and to live for the weekend, which is the absolute worst way to live. If you don't jump, believe me, if you don't pursue your gift, you will live a life full of regret, and your gift, your dreams, everything that you ever had to offer to the world will die with you. From first-hand experience, I am pissed off at myself. I am pissed off, and I regret so much in my life. I can't even fathom explaining it. Not about what I've done, but what I haven't done. all the opportunities that I turned down and all the chances that I never took just because I was afraid or because I was worried about what other people think. And I officially decided to sit down. I sat down for weeks. I didn't just think of what I'm saying right now. I didn't think of it overnight. This is months. This is months of thinking, and I just sat down and I just wrote. And after comparing the randomness of death versus the chance of you failing while relentlessly pursuing your dreams versus the chance of you living a terrible life because you failed at pursuing your dreams versus just calling it a day right now and living a traditional Western world lifestyle versus everything you can think of versus absolutely everything. And I can gladly say that right now, as of this moment right here, I would rather live each day as if it were my last and take every risk possible in these sacred moments that I have on earth now to make myself as successful and happy as possible than to be sitting in my deathbed when I'm 90 years old regretting not taking a chance and thinking about what my life could have been if I just jumped when I was 18 or when I was 15 or when I was 22, because tomorrow is not a promise. I would rather die trying to live my dreams than to live a longer life filled with regret. Life is too short and too unpredictable to live it. I've seen it firsthand. It is not worth it to live it safe, basic, and traditional. But do you know why most people choose to live that safe life over taking risks in their life? I mean, there's a pretty good argument not to. Why would you? Why would you take a risk that puts you through stress, puts your family through stress, makes you lose sleep, makes you lose time, makes you put in the extra work, makes you take ridiculous chances that are 1 to 1,000? You know, but before I even continue, the fact that I'm even sitting here and talking is astonishingly ridiculous on its own. The chance of you being born is 1 to 400 trillion. That number is so big you cannot even wrap your head around it. But okay, what I wanted to say was that the reason why people don't want to take these risks is because right now they feel like they got a lot to lose and that their current situation is relatively nice. And most importantly, right now, they are comfortable. They got used to living basic within society's standards, being with their friends every now and then, being well rested. They got comfortable. And when you get comfortable, you don't want to move. And that comfort zone, I like to call it the danger zone, because this comfort zone will persuade you to stay in there for as long as possible. And it is, I know how it is. I know the comfort zone. It is so convincing. It is so hard to escape comfort. I know. And as it persuades you to stay in there, you will literally, unconsciously, see, I'm so serious when I say this, you will literally see your whole life go right by you. And the main reason that I'm serious about this now is because I am pissed off for greatness. I want to move mountains. And like Ray Lewis once said, if you're not pissed off for greatness, then you're okay with being mediocre. And I am definitely not okay with being average. And I don't think anyone should. But anyways, to address why I'm even talking about any of this at all in the first place is because I recently got an offer to move out to Los Angeles, California to live with 2 other entrepreneurs as a content creator and media influencer. And it makes me sad because it's opened up my eyes to see what I truly have in store for me, what's waiting for me out there in the future. And it's just a tiny glimpse of what I'm capable of achieving within my short life. However, I doubt that I could get the right legal paperwork done in order to move to the US to work for a job such as YouTube, which is really not in control of the government. And the last thing that I want to do is to go to the US to work in a legal job as an illegal immigrant. So as of this moment, I feel like I have to pass up yet another opportunity. And it makes me feel like I just keep letting my dreams slip from my hands once more. And now that I've seen the reality of what is possible, this house in LA next to the beach on California with a huge city, great weather, and working a job that I would absolutely love and live for with people who share the exact same dream and vision, it has me thinking like, hell yeah, I would gladly die chasing this dream relentlessly than never chase it at all and play it safe and being trapped within my own mind of thinking about what my life could have been. I hope to do more videos like this where I speak because they're really like a therapy for me, and it helps me get my mind off things, and hopefully some people can be influenced by what I'm actually saying. I would also like to say that I think education is extremely important and plays a crucial role into bringing success into your life, and that knowledge is power. The best thing in life is to always have a backup plan and take into consideration what if something goes wrong. And it's something that every role model that I look up to tries to enforce, but I feel like education will always be here for me to come back to, whether I'm 20, 25, 40, or whatever. And I think that I have an amazing idea, vision, passion, and drive now in my peak, and that I'm able to capitalize on, which makes me feel like I'm throwing it away if I don't pursue it. And the biggest response that I've been getting recently is, Marco, what if it fails? Which, I mean, yeah, like, what if it fails? But that's the whole point of taking a chance with things like startup companies or entrepreneurship. It's ridiculously high risk. Like, what if I get hit by a car? What if I lose my wallet? Or better yet, what if this succeeds? You know, it's easy to be negative or to be closed-minded, but I think it's easier to be optimistic and to be open-minded. And please do yourself a favor, which is a separate topic on its own for another time, but try to surround yourself with people who impose and promote positivity and good vibes. You will notice the tremendous effect that it has on your lifestyle. Starting your own business or being self-employed, although preferable, doesn't exactly require any kind of diploma or degree. And I think that with a proper business plan and with the drive that people like you who are watching this video fuel me with, I feel like I can accomplish anything. If you're still listening, I love you, mad respect. That's true loyalty right there. If you're less, this has been Marco. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and goodbye.
I had a lot of fail. I failed for funny things that I failed a key primary school test for 2 times, and I failed 3 times for the middle school. You know, for 3 years I tried to fill in the universities. So I applied jobs for 30 times, got rejected. I went for a police, they said, no, you're not good. I went to even the KFC. When KFC came to China, come to my city, 24 people went for the job. 23 people were accepted. I was the only one guy. And we went for police. 5 people, 4 of them accepted. I was the only guy that I received it. So to me, being turned down, rejected. Oh, by the way, I told you that I applied for Harvard for 10 times, rejected. I know I'll be rejected. I just don't want to say that.
Yeah, sorry now.
One of the things you gotta understand, my friend, is that you're supposed to fail. You're supposed to fail because failure is the stepping stone to success. You need the logical reason why. Because failure is an experience that lends to wisdom that ultimately makes you a stronger version of yourself.
Maybe you got a test anxiety, I don't know. But the worst thing you can do is quit. Talk to your professor. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that you cannot quit. Just because you failed doesn't make you a failure.
Enemy spotted. Never mind.
Another one of these cliches, or cliche stories, is about Thomas Edison, right? When a reporter asked him, you know, what is it, how did you feel about failing 1,000 times? And he said, no, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just found 1,000 different ways that it wasn't gonna work. And that's what's happening with you. But every time he found a way that didn't work, he was adding to his journey. He was growing stronger. He learned something, he discovered something. You are discovering something about yourself, and you're exercising your character every time you get up and try something, move in the direction of something, even if you don't get the thing. It's not about the thing. It's not about making the basketball team. It's not about making $1 million, and it's not about the light bulb. It's about what you learn along the way, who you become along the way, and you're on the journey. And guess what? The journey's hard. The journey is riddled with failure, and that's why most people don't do it. Most people aren't willing to get on that journey because they're afraid to fail. You, my friend, have failed. Congratulations. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to you because it shows that you're alive, it shows that you did something, and it shows that you're growing stronger. Now go and fail again. Boy, I hope you guys that watch these videos, I hope you go and fail 1,000 times. Keep going out there and failing. You know what that means? Every time you fail, it means to me, it tells me that you're doing something.
Too far. 45 left.
See, a lot of people, because they don't want to make any mistakes, it takes us to the next level. A lot of people don't want to fail. Fear of failure, fear of success, and guess what else? Fear of the unknown.
30 seconds remain.
You know what Winston Churchill said about courage, Pat? He said courage is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So you want to courageously hold on to your dream and not lose enthusiasm. A guy in Los Angeles, all over the front page of the newspaper, he just passed the bar after taking it 48 times. He had more than enough reason and excuses not to take it. His son has a law firm. He could have been a legal assistant, a clerk. And people all of a sudden used to laugh at this guy. He was a laughing stock. People will do that too. You know, people talk about John Kennedy Jr. failing the bar. Did you read in the newspaper that he passed? I didn't see that, but did they make a bigger deal about him passing as they did when he failed? No, you know why? People like to see you fail. They like to see that. People are like that. I don't know why it's set up like that. I was on the expressway, traffic was jammed up. You know what was happening? It was an accident. But people pull over to the side to get out of their car to go look, to see somebody else's suffering. That's why talk shows are so popular. So people like to hear other people's misery, get it caught up in that. Then they go magnify it in their own life because that's all they focus on. Who decided it doesn't matter how many times I fail. I'm going to courageously pursue it. I don't care what people say. I don't care what they think. This is something that I want that gives my life meaning and value.
If you constantly remind yourself after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. See, a lot of people, because of failure, they stop believing. Let me share something with you. You will fail your way to success. Yes. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. You will fail your way to success. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many times people tell you that you can't do it. It doesn't matter if you don't have a dime in the bank. You will fail your way to success.
Let's use the gravity cannon there.
There's something about the way we perceive success that results in one of the greatest tragedies of our time. And that's the belief that successful people, the ones at the top of their game, that talent is what punched their ticket, that destiny brought them to the finish line. And that's wrong. It's wrong because it takes the journey, the struggle, the scratching and clawing that it took to get to the top of the mountain and throws it out the window. It completely mitigates what's most important. In the real world, the one we are living in, it doesn't matter who you are never entitled to a result. Victory is a product of the fight. The biggest favor you can ever do for yourself as you progress through life's up and downs, through the good and the bad, when things get rough, is know that you are going through what every successful person, every champion, every innovator has gone through in the history of mankind. Struggle is beautiful. It's a sign that you are in the midst of what separates great from average. It's a necessary step, and it's the most important step you will ever take, because 99% of people can't see past it, right? The world sees struggle, sees hardship as a time to pack it up, to walk away, to be intimidated. But the best, I'm telling you, they look at struggle differently. Just like you can't get fit without blood, sweat, and tears at the gym. You can't make deals without the hustle. You can't make things happen if you don't move forward in the face of adversity. When the word no is staring you in the eyes, it's all part of the process. Winners walk on. If you want something bad enough, you know that being uncomfortable is an ingredient. If you want to be the best, your mindset has to reflect the best, right? Let others focus on the tip of the iceberg. You know excellence lies in everything underneath the surface, in what cannot be seen. So take mediocrity and make it excellent. Take what's yours and hold it up for the world to see. Because what hurts now in the present is the very same thing that will transform your life down the road.
Intend to make these words sink into your mind and energy system. Allow them to vibrate in every aspect. Feel the movement of the frequency around you and within you as you repeat these affirmations. You are creating with your thoughts and words. I am, I have, and I can are the most powerful words you can think and speak. You can change your subconscious conditioning by changing the language you use. Play this while you sleep, and within a short period of time, you will see remarkable differences in your thinking and your attraction. I know who I am. I am love. I am loving. I am lovable. I am kind. I am gentle. I am charismatic. I am vibrant. I am luminescent. I am clever. I am smart. I am intelligent. I am knowing. I am wise. I am wonderful. I am on my path. I am guided by my intuition. I am guided by my good feelings. I am creating. I am creation.
Winning in STEM and ready to win.
An expression of the divine.
Let's go find them all.
Thinking and creating. I am in harmony.
This is your champion.
With my creations. I am in harmony with the
I'm super proud to say that I have my dream
We're
job.
inside.
I wake up every day and I am so excited to go to work. But my life wasn't always this way, and I do want to share a little bit about my background to help hopefully motivate and inspire some of you. So I'm an anchor at CNN International now, but about 4.5 years ago, I was working as a receptionist. And the reason why I share that is because I want to let you know that success is never really in a straight line. There's always going to be bumps along the way. So for the longest time in my life, I always believed that hard work was the key to success. I thought, you know what, if you work hard, of course you're going to be successful. But now I realize that there is so much more to the story. There are plenty of people who work hard who don't necessarily make it in their chosen careers. There are plenty of people who are extraordinarily talented, who know the right people, who are well educated, who don't necessarily make it. So if it's not always hard work, then what then determines whether you're going to be successful? As I attempt to answer this, I want to share with you a little bit about my life and my background. I was born and raised here in London. My family and I were originally from Nigeria. The worst and probably most difficult day in my life was September 3rd, 1988. I was about 5 years old. And my mother and I were in the kitchen in our house in London. We'd just gotten back from a wedding in Nigeria. And my brother and my father were still in Nigeria a few days after the wedding for a road trip, father and son road trip. And they were supposed to come home on September 3rd, 1988. So we were supposed to pick them up from the airport. And we were waiting and waiting, and I guess we assumed that they had missed their flight. We continued to wait, and we didn't hear anything. And then later on that day, my mother got a phone call from a family friend in Nigeria, and the voice on the other end of the line just basically said, you know, your husband and your son have been involved in a car crash. One of them is dead, and we don't know which one. So the car crash happened in Nigeria, and there was about 5 people in the car. Everyone in the car died instantly, apart from one person in the back seat where my father and my brother were sitting. It turned out to be my father. My mother was pregnant at the time. Of course, she was devastated because my parents were really in love. So raised in a single parent family. For a while, my mother sent me to live in Nigeria by myself with my grandmother. And when I came back, she decided that, you know, in life, if you want to be successful, you have to be able to relate to people from all walks of life. So she deliberately sent me to various types of schools. I went to school in Nigeria. I went to a state school in a poor neighborhood in South London. I went to a private school, and then I went to a boarding school. And this was on purpose, deliberately, because my mother felt that if you want to make it in life, you need to be able to relate to everybody. So when I was 16, I have a strict Nigerian mother, but when I was 16, she decided that she wanted me to go to Oxford. And she sat down and she thought, okay, how can I guarantee that my child is going to get into Oxford? What can I do to make that happen? And she thought about it for a few days, and she came up to me with a proposal, and she said that she was going to ban me from watching any television for 18 months. So I was only allowed to watch BBC and CNN International. If I wanted to watch anything else, I had to ask special permission for that. And then no television expanded into no phones, no cable, no music. I literally had nothing else to do but study. And my mother said to me, the only way, if you're living in my house, the only way you're ever going to be able to watch television again is if you get into Oxford. So, I mean, we laugh now and it is funny, but, you know, her plan worked. I worked very hard, I got straight A's, and then I went to Oxford. So overall, I didn't necessarily have the easiest childhood. I was raised in a single-parent family. We didn't have much money. I changed schools constantly, therefore found it difficult to make friends. So I didn't have the easiest childhood, but I loved every minute of it because it prepared me for real life.
Congratulations. You just called
as I mentioned, especially after having gone to Oxford, and I went to grad school as well in New York, Columbia, I really believed up until that point that hard work was the key to being successful. And now I realize there's a lot more to it.
If you need it, I can get it. Anything for my family.
The first thing I believe is trust your struggle. This is something I'd heard a lot. Trust your struggle. And that means no matter what the hardships are you're going through in life, have faith that it will all end up being for the greater good. So I mentioned that 4.5 years ago, I was working as a receptionist, and I was in a production company in California. And I was a receptionist, so I really wanted to sort of move up within the company. And no matter how hard I worked, I couldn't get promoted. No matter how many times I stayed late or came in on the weekends, hoping that my boss would notice me
Let's make a choice.
and promote
Land
me,
here.
it never happened. And in fact, for the position I wanted, they began looking for external candidates. I'm sure anyone who's been through that knows how that can be. And because I was the receptionist, it was my job to serve water to the people who were coming in to interview for the job that I wanted. I know, it wasn't easy. And so I didn't really necessarily feel good about myself because of that, and I did some soul searching, and I asked myself, okay, well, what do you really want to do? Well, clearly, this is probably not meant for you. What do you really want to do? And
Yeah, they are right on the other side of this thing.
So I called a television station in New York, a local news station, and I asked them, what do I need to do to get a job with you guys? So unfortunately, I didn't have any experience. They needed about 2 or 3 years of previous experience as a reporter, and the only experience I really had was answering phones and sending faxes. That's all I really knew how to do. And so they said no repeatedly to me, and on top of that, I had a British accent. And in America, if you want to get into the local news business, it's very difficult if you have a foreign accent. It's a lot easier in national news, but certainly in local news, it's a lot harder. So they said no, and I decided I wasn't going to take no for an answer, so I basically called in sick to work, and I gave my roommate, my housemate, and they helped me open the top building around Los Angeles, acting like I studied reporting inside out. I studied everything that they did inside out, and I put together various packages, this voiced over piece that I learned basically from studying various reporters, and I sent it to this news station, hoping that they would give
He's
me
getting
a
his
chance.
teammate up right now.
Unfortunately, a lot of these news stations receive thousands of applications, thousands of tapes, so it took them several months to get back to me. And during that time, the recession kicked in, and I lost my job. So there I was, no money, no job. So I decided anyway that I was going to move to New York and just hope that this one station would get back to me. So eventually, after emailing and pestering constantly, they eventually got back to me. They brought me in for an interview, and they were so impressed that even though I had no experience, that I'd put together this tape by myself showing what I could do, that they hired me on the spot. So, thank you. So that's why I say trust your struggle. The second thing I believe, and this sort of comes out of left field, is I honestly do not believe in competition. The corporate world will tell you that if you want to get ahead in life, you need to be competitive. You need to have that drive to succeed and compete with one another. But I don't believe in competing for what I want. I believe in creating what I want. Abraham Lincoln once said that the best way to predict the future is to create it. In order for me to be successful, I don't believe that I need to take anything away from anyone else. Now, of course, there are some advantages to looking at your peers for inspiration, definitely. But I think that having a competitive spirit, having that need for one-upmanship, and comparing yourself to other people again and again can actually bring out fears and insecurities that end up holding you back. So when I was interviewing for another position in CNN, the anchor job, I was sort of sat next to a girl who I was competing for the same job with. And rather than sort of not wish her well, I sat with her for hours, and I helped her. I showed her what she could improve upon, so she had just as good a chance of getting the job as I did. I went in for the screen test first. I came out, and I told her everything they asked me and how she should prepare. So I don't believe in competition. I believe in creating what I want. I don't believe in competing for what's already been created. The third thing I honestly believe is to give, because it has become abundantly clear to me in life that the more you give, the more you receive. I learned this lesson from a woman named Kat Cole, who I interviewed for a story for CNN. She's a corporate CEO, and she started her career as a waitress at Hooters. Now, I don't know, I'm not sure, you guys laugh, but I'm not sure if people know what Hooters, I don't know if you have Hooters in England, but it's a restaurant chain in America where the waitresses are very scantily clad. And that's how she started off. And I was curious about the transition from going from that kind of environment, especially because she grew up poor and her mother saved $10 a week for food, to now being a CEO. And especially financially, I wanted to know what that was like for her. So she said she didn't really know what it felt like to have money, even though she was being well paid, because she still gives most of her money away to this day, because it was clear to her that the more you give in life, the more you receive. So this had a pretty deep impact on me because I've interviewed a lot of CEOs for CNN, and I've interviewed a lot of founders for tech startups, some of whom have made millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And usually what they say is, you want to be successful, you need to network, you've got to have a brand, you've got to study your competition. And she had some practical advice as well, but certainly the moral of her story was that the more you give, the more you receive. And I can tell you that I've tried it, I've tested it, and I don't necessarily believe in giving just to receive, but she is right. The more you give, the more you receive. And the last thing I'm going to say, it is loosely related to hard work. And when I first heard this phrase, I thought it was such a cliche. I'd heard it so many times growing up. And that is, success comes when opportunity meets preparation. I'd heard that so many times, I thought it was a cliche. I never really paid attention to it. Only now do I realize how true that really is. I'll give you an example. So when I was in local news in New York, I really wanted to work my way up to get into national news. I'd always wanted to work for CNN since I was a teenager. And I realized, after studying different reporters and how they made it, I realized that it was crucial for me to have a specialty, some sort of expertise, something that I could do better than others, I guess. And so that could be anything from being a sports reporter to being a political reporter or a business reporter. And I was very passionate about business news. So while I was working in local news, I decided to study and teach myself business news, not necessarily because there was an opportunity coming my way or there was an interview that I was preparing for, but because I trusted that one day an opportunity would come and I needed to be ready. So every weekend I went to the library. One weekend I'd study stocks. The next weekend I'd study bonds. The next weekend derivatives. The next weekend mergers and acquisitions, teaching myself. And in fact, the librarians on 33rd and Madison in New York got to know me very well because oftentimes I'd be the last person to leave. So after doing that for a few years, eventually, by pure chance, I happened to meet an executive at CNN. And I asked him which department he worked in. He said he ran the business news unit and he was looking for a reporter. So when I met him, he gave me about 2 weeks to come in for a screen test and also for a financial news test as well. So in his mind, he felt guilty because he only had given me 2 weeks to prepare. But in my mind, I knew in my heart that I had been preparing for years. So this is a lesson as well that I'd learnt from my older brother. Some of you have already approached me about him, but my older brother is an actor, and he starred in a movie that came out this time last year called 12 Years a Slave. He was nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor, and I'd learnt this lesson from him. He is a master preparer. When he was 13 years old, he would lock himself in his room and write Shakespeare on the walls, and he would study and memorize various plays from Measure for Measure, Twelfth Night, Richard III, not because he had an audition coming up, but just in case, in a few years, an audition came his way, he wanted to be ready. It didn't matter how many times he had to do it. He did it again and again and again until he got it right. Most people wait until they get the call for a job interview before they begin to prepare, or they wait until they get the call for an audition before they begin to rehearse. But my brother taught me to prepare well before you get that call. So to sum up, I truly believe in trusting your struggle, knowing that the hardships you go through will somehow end up being for your own benefit. I also believe in turning a blind eye to competition. I believe in giving, and I believe in trusting and knowing that your opportunity will one day come. You just have to be ready. Thank you.
As one's awareness gains the needed sharpness or keenness, when this begins to happen, one of the first things that naturally comes into play is the breath. It's amazing how most human beings live without being aware of the breath, which is a certain level of mechanical action in the body, which is constant and continuous. It's truly amazing how so many people can live without being conscious of it. But once awareness begins to gain a certain sharpness or keenness, this is the first thing that becomes an amazing process, and no wonder breath watching, as it's known today, is probably the most practiced form of meditation. It is so basic and simple.
You made the right choice this time.
But it comes so easy and naturally to people that it does not need any preparation. If one becomes a little conscious, naturally breath will be in the awareness. Probably this happened to me when I was 6, 7 years of age, when I started just enjoying the breath, the movement of my little chest and belly in those days, how the stomach and the chest moved in rhythm constantly. I must have spent hours and hours just noticing that. It kept me interested and engaged. It's much later that I even the idea of meditation entered my life, but just the simple rhythm that's going on endlessly, and you cannot ignore if you're a bit conscious. So here's a poem for the breath, the beauty of the breath and the possibility of the breath. This is titled as Divine Hand.
It's go time!
As I see the seemingly perpetual play of breath, as I see the seemingly perpetual play of breath, the breath, the maker of my body and the taker of my being, when the timely moment comes. The breath, the maker of my body and the taker of my being when the timely moment comes. This ceaseless play of the unseen hand of the Divine, this ceaseless play of the unseen hand of the Divine, me firmly held the hand, and the Maker could not escape. Me firmly held the hand, and the Maker could not escape.
Delivering care package sponsored by Chevrex. Safer move.
Bob Proctor is one of the guys, anybody who's familiar with the book The Secret, he's one of the master teachers, and I had an opportunity for him to be my mentor, and it was funny, I'll never forget. We were talking, and he said to me, son, what's your charge? It's about a year ago.
Did you like my move?
Listen, $10,000. I was excited. I come from poverty, Glenn. I come from a working class. I made $10,000. I can do 20 gigs a month. My mother never made $10,000 at one time. I'm excited. He said $10,000. I said, yeah. He said, what else do you do? I said, well, I've got the book, The Secret to Success. So you sell a book? Oh. I was asking to be mentored, not insulted. He said, oh, your little book, you still selling books? I said, still? I'm sorry, I'm from Detroit, high school dropout. Nobody on my block is an author. Nobody in my family is an author. When you say steal, help me out, what do you mean by steal? We made over $1 million the first year. What do you mean steal? He says, Eric, nobody really makes good money off of books but chicken soup for the soul. He said, you give this away and you turn it into an ascension program. I said, a who? He said, an ascension program. He said, the little TGIM thing you doing? That's what people really want a lot of. There's a group out there, they want to learn how you did it from top to bottom. So you need a program, university online. He said, $10,000, you're one of the best in the world, $10,000. He said, do me a favor, let's start.
Come over to us.
I saw him 6 months later. He said, Eric, how's the 20 thing coming? I said, it's going great, sir. He said, what do you mean? I told him 20 and everybody's doing it. He said, that's a problem. Lions are wired differently. I said, what do you mean it's a problem? You told me to say 20, I said 20, now they get to 20. I guess it's a trick. He said, no, yes, it's a problem. Say a number that they're gonna say no to. Tell them what. Let's see where it falls. He said, I bet you won't be anywhere close to 20. Sure. He said, your problem is you think like a kid who grew up in Detroit. You think like a kid who came from poverty. You think like a kid whose mama had him at 17 years old. That's how you think. You're not wired to be who. What you need to think is not how you see the world, but what you need to see is how the world sees you. And the world doesn't see you as a 10,000. The world sees you as much bigger. And when you can see yourself as the world sees you and not how you see yourself, is when you're gonna go to another level. Let me tell you something. You got it. When you walk out of here, the way you see yourself is the problem. It's always a result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. You're not going to be the best. You're not going to catch the best if you're not intentional and deliberate. And there are those of you in your space, and whatever you're trying to do, you don't even represent the best in your space, and you're still not giving 120. You're trying to catch the guy, you're trying to catch the female, that's the best. And you're waking up and giving me 70%, you're giving me 80%, but yet you have these dreams that you're gonna be the best. How? You're still watching TV. Somebody say, Eric, have you not seen in America? Have you not seen Scandal? You must watch Scandal. It's the best sitcom. Have you not seen Scandal? I said it's a scandal. I'm not watching it. It's a scandal. I'm not watching it. Come on at 10 o'clock at night. I'm in the bed. I gotta wake up, make my Scandal become a reality. This is Scandal. Like, I can't watch this. So I'll go home and say, Scandal was great. But I did Scandal on my time on my way to Australia. I didn't do Scandal when I'm trying to catch Jim Rohn. I didn't do Scandal where I'm trying to learn from John Maxwell or from my friend Les Brown. I'm not watching Scandal. So you gotta do me a huge favor, and I'm asking you to do me a favor. When you leave today, I want you to look at some things that you're doing, the 30% now, or the 20%, or the 10%, and I'm gonna need you to let it go.
Just, bro, I've seen a lot, and I just was like, yo, I don't want that no more. And so what are the things that stop men from being successful? And I saw it. Females was one. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, it just seemed like, and still, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. I'm just like, yo, it just seemed like, bro, my father had multiple kids by multiple women. You know, I got a sister I found out, you know, when I was older that I had that's only a few months younger than me. You know what I'm saying? She might be 9 months. Like, I was just like, yo, bro, I'm not disrespecting my family. Everybody got to go through their whatever. But I was like, yo, I don't want that life no more. Like, I don't want to lose. So I started looking at power, egos. A lot of dudes fail because of their ego. You know, they can't be the two-man. They can't serve nobody else, you know, and then money. You know what I'm saying? I just saw just people would just get money. Like, I grew up in Motown, so these young dudes would come great musicians and end up smoking crack or cocaine and just losing their mind. You look at Marvin Gaye, you know, Al Green, you know, the light that he had, Sam Cooke. Like some of the most talented people, Michael Jackson even, Whitney Houston. And I just started realizing like, yo, if you don't deal with your demons, they ain't going nowhere. They not gonna stay in the closet. And so I was like, yo, E, you gotta discipline yourself. I started looking at Mother Teresa, Gandhi, and I was like, yo, bro, Gandhi would go fast from sex, and he was married. He would fast from talking. You know, I just started watching these great people, like, yo, these people fasting. Not about fasting, like that's not the piece, but they were very disciplined people, and they would not allow their exterior world to dominate their internal world. I just like, yo, I want to get to a place where I can control me. My family members have grown. I lost an uncle, cirrhosis of the liver, brilliant man, but just drinking. And I was like, yo, I do not want to. My father was a substance abuser for years. I was like, yo, I don't want a life where something else is controlling me. You know, like real, when I left home and said, I don't want to be controlled no more, like I meant that. Like I don't want nothing to control me but me. And so I got to put myself under extreme discipline to make sure I'm free. So when people see you get up to the street, you don't drink, you don't smoke. I'm not doing that because I think I'm better than nobody else, or I think you're going to go to hell because you had a drink. I want to control, I want freedom. And for me, disciplining myself means more freedom. And the less you discipline yourself, people who, I told my son the other day, I was like, yo son, I do not want you to have fun. I just seen a history of people who just have fun. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year. Yeah. They're the people who
Thursday night, Friday night.
Oh man, every night. Yeah. They're the people who end up in their 20s having a great deal of fun, but in their 40s and 50s, they working for somebody, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with cleaning toilets, but they doing something they don't want to do for the rest of their life, and they can't retire because they played so much. You know, so for me, I just look at Venus and Serena, Michael Jackson, when he used to like 5 and 6 just dancing all night. I just think the more a man disciplines himself, the greater, don't mean it's gonna happen, but the greater the probability that he has this sense of freedom. And I will say this, the one thing I enjoy is that now where I am, this don't mean that when you're 20, 30, 40. I never knew I would be where I am. But I'm grateful that I disciplined myself the way I did, because some of the issues I could have as one of the top motivational speakers in the world, I don't have those issues. And let me tell you, I'm around more temptation now than I have ever been in my life. And we're not just talking about women, we're talking about opportunities, we're talking about power, we're talking about, bro, I got a call, and I won't say names because I know you know how you are, but I got a call this week from 2 or 3 people that top in their industries. And it's just like, yo, the people I coach and the people so I'm grateful that I'm disciplined, because I can see if I wasn't disciplined with the exposure that I have around the world, whew, I could get myself in a lot of trouble right now if I wasn't.
Is it something, let me ask you this. So is it something now that is just routine, the discipline, or do you still have to have it in there?
I'm still a man every day. Yeah. I gotta wake up in the morning and still being a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to make that clear. Yeah, you feel me? Like I'm not robot, where I get up every day, and now I've gotten to a point where women are not attracted to me. With certain personality, I'm not there, bro. I'm not there where I see chicken and don't want to eat fried chicken. Right. I'm not there. I still like the way chicken tastes. Yeah. I don't have a vegan heart. Right, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a vegan mindset. Yeah. I just know that my wife got MS and I want to help her out. Yeah. But I don't see chicken, bro. Some chicken was murdered. We should not kill chicken. Yeah. I'm not on that. I'm on, my wife shouldn't be eating fried food and she don't eat rotisserie chicken, you know, so no, I have to get up every day, and it's a battle every single day to do right. So if you see E.T. cut somebody out on the street level, you know that I'm human and I had a bad day. But I figure if I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get through this routine, the probability of me not going off is greater. But it don't mean I'm not gonna have a bad day. It just means if I follow my routine, listen to me, surround themselves with people who are on the same mission. How many people in your immediate environment, those people who are in your sacred circle, represent people who are on the same mission as you? Or do you have a bunch of people on your list who are not on the same mission as you, and those individuals are pulling you down? I've cut off the people who are not on the same mission with me, and yes, they are very upset, and yes, they said some nasty things about me, but guess what? I cut them off anyway, and I'm surrounding myself with people who have the same values, who have the same mindset, and people who want to accomplish what I want to accomplish.
every day in Africa in the safari, a lion wakes up. Every single day in the safari, a lion wakes up, right? And every single day in the safari, a gazelle wakes up. It says that if you wake up and you're a gazelle, you realize if you're going to survive as a gazelle, if you're going to survive, you must outrun the slowest gazelle. In your mind, you're thinking you gotta outrun the fastest lion. That's not the truth. You just gotta stay ahead of the slow gazelle. That's it. But every single day when you wake up, whatever it is that you do professionally, you better make sure you're not in the back of the pack. You better be as close to the front, if not up front, as possible, because every single day when the lion wakes up, it's only one thing on that lion's mind, and that is catching the gazelle that couldn't keep up. What the gazelle realizes is that the way it operates, that the way it performs, that the way it goes about its daily business is contingent upon life and death. That if that gazelle does not do what he or she is supposed to do, it will be eaten by a lion. Even if you are a lion, and you have the advantage that when the sun comes up, if you're a gazelle or a lion, you better get to running. Because if you are a lion, a gazelle is still not going to come to you and say, just eat me. I don't care how deep you are as a lion. When you wake up, nothing is going to come to you. Nobody's going to give you anything. They're still not giving stuff to ET. I still have to work. I still have to fly 20 hours to get to Australia. I still have to go to London. I still have to do free stuff in Detroit. I still have to drive. I'm a lion. And when the sun comes up, I still have to get to running. Here's the challenge though. I asked myself when I read that story, that's what's on the surface. I read it and I started asking myself, E.T., what's the difference between a gazelle and what's the difference between a lion? What's the difference? I know that they're wired different, but what's the difference? And what I discovered is that the gazelle is running from something. The gazelle is running from something. So as long as the lion is chasing the gazelle is running. But as soon as the lion stops chasing the gazelle, it stops. That's a lot of you in this room. You'll run. You'll do what you're supposed to do. As long as you're getting pushed, as long as you're getting motivated, as long as somebody is encouraging you, as long as somebody's coaching you, as long as somebody's pushing you, as long as somebody's prodding you, you're doing what you're supposed to do. As long as somebody's calling you, as long as someone is enticing you, as long as somebody's giving you rewards, you're moving. But as soon as that stops, you stop. I asked myself the question about the lion, and I said the lion is not running to be rewarded. The lion is running to eat. Every single day, the lion is running to eat because the lion realizes when he kills the gazelle, not only does he eat the gazelle, but he brings it back home. You've got to ask yourself, what's your why? What motivates you? What pushes you? What drives you? And if that thing is internal, if nobody has to call you, if nobody has to prod you, if nobody has to reward you, if nobody has to give you anything, if you are self-motivated and self-regulated, you can have it, you can be it, you can do it.
Catching myself up.
I don't owe you a dime. It's your dream. If you wanted to happen, get your butt up and make it happen. If you wanted to happen, rise and grind. I don't go to sleep when I'm tired. I go to sleep when I'm done. If you wanted to have it, you're gonna have to do what I do, and that's get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you wanted to have it, that means you're gonna have to get home at 2:15 and get your butt up at 5 so you can get to Detroit by 6.
When you're tempted to get discouraged, keep reminding yourself all is well. God is still on the throne. He's directing your steps. He wouldn't have allowed it unless He had a purpose for it.
I'm not the best in the world. I just get there before the other guys get there. Stop crying. Stop begging. One thing I know about life, whatever you sow, you're gonna reap. If you put 1,000,000 apple seeds in the ground, you're gonna get 1,000,000 apple trees back. Stop whining, stop and put forth effort. As we were working, we realized, guys, it's not the big things that mess us up, it's the small things. And we had to step back and analyze our work. We had to critique our work. We had to bring our work in the lab every day, and we had to look at it in ways that we had never looked at it before. When we looked at it, we made one change. We realized that we were speaking without the proper microphone. And when we changed our microphone, our views went from 2,000 to 3,000 to 20,000 in 24 hours. It was the little things that made a difference.
You gotta feed your mind every day. If you don't feed your mind, life just starts to happen. I don't care how smart you are, how strong you are, how inspired you are, committed you are. You know, the world today follows us around, and we all know that what gets our attention today, what makes something news, is something that's usually not that attractive, not very positive.
It's your attitude. When you come in as a franchise owner, you come in with energy, your people are gonna have energy. But when you have a bad day and you're not mature enough to leave it in the car and you take it into the franchise, it's contagious.
Repairing my damages.
You know what passion is? Passion is an emotion. It's an emotion without an action. Passion will get you nowhere. Inner drive will get you nowhere unless you act on it. You have to act on your passion. You have to act on your inner drive. Don't let those feelings stay inside of you. You gotta know what to do with them. You gotta know how to make them work in order to get what you want. Don't keep it inside.
Be fair with yourself. When you come back from this event, there's some things I'm sure you've done that are not what you want to be. But all this is about continuous progress.
If you're not speaking, if you're not doing what you're doing with a level of expertise, they're not going to do what they do with a level of expertise. It's about modeling what you want them to do. Somebody told me before, Eric, your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying. It's contagious. And so if you want them to do it, they got to see you doing it.
This isn't about playing basketball like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. There's guys in the NBA that never go play basketball like them. This is about being able to think like a champion. Know what goes on in their heads. Understand how you can relate it to your business and whatever you do to take yourself to the next level.
If you want to be happy, remember one thing. Progress equals happiness. That's it. But you got to keep the momentum going. Momentum is the hardest part, and we work so hard to generate that together in the event that you don't want to let that thing go to waste.
Decide, commit, act, succeed, repeat.
Think about feeding your mind every day. How are you going to do it?
You're being aimed at.
Feed your mind. Because good ideas, great insights don't interrupt you. You got to pursue them.
Remember, the mind controls the body does not control the mind. What makes these guys special and successful in everything they do is not their physical gifts, it's their mental toughness. They have the ability not to think when everyone else is thinking.
Some of you, listen to me. Some of you may be so arrogant, I don't know. Some of you may be so cocky, I don't know. Some of you may be so confident, I don't know, that you never step back and look at your work. That when anything goes wrong, you automatically look out the window instead of looking in the mirror. And I dare you in 2013 to look in the mirror first.
The one thing that all the greats have in common is they sweat the small stuff. They pay very, very close attention to every detail.
I dare you to analyze yourself first, your company first, your character, your behavior, your work ethics. I dare you to analyze it and see if there's any changes you can make.
Michael used to sweat the details so much in his basketball game that carried on into his personal life. The suit had to match the car he was driving that particular day. But what those details allowed him to do was to put him in the zone to be the best basketball player on that given night.
Who the hell is Kid Cash?
Your gift will make room for you. Your gift, not your education. You go get an education, that's nice. But if you don't use your gift, that education only gonna take you so far.
Playing on PC, yeah, I'm kind of scared.
It's your gift. But the only way for you to soar is you got to
Hey, I don't know that PC player.
You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. You got to jump off that cliff and pull that cord. And if you're getting up going to work on a job every day that you hate going to, that ain't living, man. You just existing. At one point in time, you ought to see what living's like. But the only way to see what living like, you gotta jump.
I want you to dream. You a freshman, go for it. You a sophomore, go for it. You a junior, you got a little bit more time. If you are a senior, you should be no dreaming right now. No more dreaming. If you are a senior, dreaming is over.
You're not bad.
It's over. Like, I need specifics.
You're not bad.
When you first jump, let me tell you something. Your parachute will not open right away.
What are you doing on Monday? What are you doing on Tuesday? What are you doing on Wednesday? You need to be very specific.
I wish I could tell you it did, but it don't. When you jump, it's not going to open right away. You're gonna hit them rocks. You're gonna get some skin tore off on them cliffs. You're gonna get all your clothes tore off. You're gonna get some cuts on you. You're gonna be bleeding pretty bad.
You go grab my gun.
But eventually, the parachute has to open. That is a promise of God. That ain't a theory, that's a promise. His promises is true, because listen to me. You cannot name one single thing God has not gotten you through.
There's no excuse for not living up to your full potential. No excuse. I know what the drive is like. I was homeless. I ain't got a trash can. Now, go on the internet right now. I'm one of the #1 speakers in the world.
Right, I'm on.
And I stopped being a victim. I stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said I'm going to grind.
I know you love it, okay?
You finally made it to the big leagues. And now you want to chill? Now you got the big head? Now you can't grind? You here now. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power. You made it now. You made it now. You in the big leagues now. They watching you now. This is where you make it permanent. Every single day, I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
Your gift will make room for you. Your gift, not your education. You go get an education, that's nice. But if you don't use your gift, that education only gonna take you so far. It's your gift. But the only way for you to soar is you got to jump. You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. You got to jump off that cliff and pull that cord. And if you're getting up going to work on a job every day that you hate going to, that ain't living, man. You just existed. At one point in time, you ought to see what living's like. But the only way to see what living like, you gotta jump.
I want you to dream. You a freshman, go for it. You a sophomore, go for it. You a junior, you got a little bit more time. If you are a senior, you should be no dreaming right now. No more dreaming. If you are a senior, dreaming is over. It's over. Like, I need specifics.
When you first jump, let me tell you something. Your parachute will not open right away.
What are you doing on Monday? What are you doing on Tuesday? What are you doing on Wednesday? You need to be very specific.
I wish I could tell you it did, but it don't. When you jump, it's not going to open right away. You're gonna hit them rocks. You're gonna get some skin tore off on them cliffs. You're gonna get all your clothes tore off. You're gonna get some cuts on you. You're gonna be bleeding pretty bad. But eventually, the parachute has to open. That is a promise of God. That ain't a theory, that's a promise. His promises is true, because listen to me. You cannot name one single thing God has not gotten you through.
I'm the jump master. I'll cut us a path.
And one of the things that you've got to do is you've got to watch your inner conversation and discipline your thinking and your imagination, because if you don't, your mind will take you on a wild trip, talking to you, telling you what you can't do. Part of what you've got to do is be your own motivator. You've got to talk to yourself, and you build yourself up, and you'll feel your energy level coming up, and people will feel that around you. See, now, if you go through life being afraid, people can sense that. They can pick up that fear.
I am taking fire, friends.
Not trying to disturb anything, not trying to shake anything up, not trying to make any waves.
I am down.
There are some people who come through the universe, and their level of contribution and the level of energy they manifest is so small, so inconspicuous, that when they go, you won't even know they left. There are some people, because of their personality, because of their contribution, because of the investment of their time and their energy and the impact they have there, that when they go, everybody will miss them.
Rings for a minute to go.
See, when Mother Teresa checks out, everybody will know. When Rosa Parks, everybody will know. Nelson Mandela, everybody will know. Why? Because of their contribution.
Far ring. I got this.
See, but there's some people, because their contribution is so small, no one will care. So I'm saying, before you are boxed and buried, decide that you're going to box and bury your fears. Decide that you're going to begin to live life on a new level, seeking out new horizons. Guy said something, I love this. He says, everything a man does for himself, guess what? He takes with him. But everything he does for others, he leaves behind. So when you begin to say, what is it that I want to leave? What contribution that I want to begin to make? What difference do I want to make in life? What is it that I want to do with the rest of the life that I have left? What chances I need to take? What risks do I need to begin to embrace? What fears do I need to step on? What areas of my life am I dead right now? What dream? You can either live your dreams or live your fears. You have got to get to a point where you say, I'm sick and tired of living like this. There's got to be more. That's when people go out and strike out on their dreams. That's when people get out of relationships where they're dying together rather than growing together. Deciding as you look at your life, as you look into the future and say, what fears am I holding on to? What fears that I'm allowing to imprison me? The impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life. And most people, ladies and gentlemen, have stopped living their dreams because of the lessons they've learned from life or things they've picked up, because we've only been born with two fears: the fear of a loud sound or the fear of falling. And all the other fears are fears we learn, fears we pick up. Whatever you're scared of, no life, the value you brought to the planet, far more important. Whatever you're afraid of, you're stronger. So as we begin to look toward the future, and look at what will it take for us to break through those fears. One, acknowledging the fear, knowing it's all right. Some fear is healthy. Beginning to know that your dreams, your passions, your drive to achieve whatever it is you want, as it has more power and meaning, it will move you past your fears. As you begin to feel that you deserve it, your passion and goal is so strong, the fears won't matter. The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you.
Listen to me, there's a direct correlation between time and success. So one of the blueprints to success, guys, is you gotta have a sense of urgency. I told you that you're phenomenal, powerful beyond measure.
Let's look at where we want to go. What is it that we want to produce? What is it that we want to create for our young people? And as we think about that, start experimenting with different methods and techniques to create and to produce that. And begin to believe that it's possible through our commitment, through our vision, through our determination, our relentlessness.
You have access to you, and I just need you to get started, right? Once you can get that momentum going, once that momentum gets going, boom, there's no telling where you can go.
And for some of you, you stop dreaming. You dream for a week and you stop because things around you don't look good.
First level was all about you, all about you. Understand there's nothing you can't do, there's nothing you can't have. There's nothing you can't be, but that's over now. Now we gotta build on that. You hear what I'm telling you?
You dream for a month, then when you get hit in the mouth, you quit and you give up.
You are phenomenal. Yup, you are phenomenal beyond measure. Yup, you do matter. That's just the start. That's phase one. That's not where we're ending. That's just step one. Now we gotta keep climbing. We gotta keep moving. We gotta keep going.
You dream for a while, and when people tell you crazy, and when people tell you stupid, and when people tell you can never get done, you stop dreaming and you go back to knowledge.
Phasing. Airstriking.
I dare you to use your imagination. I dare you when you're broke to use your imagination. I dare you when you're rich to use your imagination. I dare you under every single circumstance. Keep dreaming. Keep looking at your dream.
That's a far ring.
Keep focusing on your dream. Keep going after the dream because that's where true success is.
You're not where you are because you don't have an opportunity.
Only 45 rings.
You're being aimed at.
The reason why I've been telling you don't be average, don't be good, try to be great and be phenomenal. The reason why I told you that is because, listen to me, you gotta understand. You have to understand if you stay average and you stay good, you'll never get to where you're trying to get to.
And we've all had experiences where we were working on something and we knew it was possible. And we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized.
It has nothing to do with opportunities. You've been given opportunities. The problem is you're not operating in your greatness in that opportunity. So that's why you're stuck on that particular level.
People were opposing you, but you kept on doing it. It was hard, it was rough, it was difficult, but to you it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level you know, can nothing stop me now.
I will not give up. I will not surrender. I will not quit. This is your year. Are you hearing me?
That when you're working, you have a wall to break through. Let's say a friend of mine he runs a marathon, and he says, when he's running the 26-mile marathon, he said, let's say that hypothetically, that 18th mile is the wall. He said, Les, when you get there and you're running, he says, everything in you is telling you to stop, to give up. Every muscle is aching.